News from the world of sports.
Yo boy, BC, Lavonte David has retired from the NFL and has retired from your favorite team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A 12-time captain, key member of the Super Bowl winning team back in 2020, and the longest tenured player on the Bucs' current roster, retiring after 14 years. He actually said this the other day. I feel it's time to move on. I found a different path in life to be a dad to an amazing little girl over there. Pointed to his little girl while he was at the press conference, 3 years old. Having a girl help me become a man, help me understand what is important in life. He said this a week ago when he was making his decision. The first thing I thought about is how to figure out my life, how to figure out my identity, how to figure out who Lavonte David is. People see me as Lavonte David, the football player, but who is Lavonte David? The main thing is being a great father. So I bring this up on why he retired, saying that it was because of his daughter, which I truly believe it is. But knowing you work for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I'm sure you have some inside scoop that you can't share all of it with us. But I want to know if you think there is something more that is happening behind the scenes than him retiring because of his daughter, and it's not something else.
I will say that from what I've just kind of heard and just kind of seen over the last few years, especially just because he's been signing 1-year contracts since, gosh, like 2022, 2023. So this has been just kind of a yearly thing with Lavonte where it's, hey, how you feeling? Do you want to come back for another year? Because they could easily sign, they could have easily locked him up long term, but he was at a point in his career, I want to say in 2023, when he just wanted to take it on a year by year basis, kind of like what LeBron does in the NBA. And for the last few years, I would say, especially like 2023 with Dave Canales as the OC, the Bucks making that surprising performance against the Eagles. I think the year after with Liam Cohen as the OC and the Bucks, having the best record they've had under Todd Bowles, the offense looking great. There was a lot of room for optimism to think that Lavonte could keep going, and he just continued to seem like an ageless wonder. Like he was never really going to age that badly at all. Even to this year, his last year, he's still out over 100 tackles, multiple sacks, multiple forced fumble recovery. Still finds ways to fill up the stat sheet, but this year definitely looked a lot different than he had in previous years. Even the year before that, sure he would miss the occasional tackle and stuff like that, but this year he seemed to miss a lot more of those. His mind was still sharp. He was still able to put himself in the right positions to make plays, but his body just didn't look like it was able to produce like it used to. And he was also dealing with several he was dealing with knee injuries at this point in the season as well. And then just pair that up with the late season collapse that I think that the Bucks had. I think all of those things, not kind of combined with the fact that again, he wants to be a good dad to his daughter. What player doesn't want to be that? And I think all of that was just the perfect storm for him to really be able to move on, I think. And I don't think any player wants to go out on a losing season, not go out making the playoffs. I don't think any great player wants to. No player doesn't want to go out on top. Like Peyton Manning did in the Super Bowl, Ray Lewis in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady could have in the Super Bowl. But there's always going to be that drive to keep going. And I honestly, it's sad to see this as his last season, just because of what happened at the end. But honestly, he was able to get a win at home. I think that was great. He was also able to make his final season the 50th season in team history, which I thought was pretty cool. All the different homages and different throwbacks and honoring the past. I think that this was pretty cool that we got to kind of see. It's almost poetic that his last year is in the 50th season of the team, and he leaves behind a great legacy. Again, numerous categories. One of the top five in games played, forced fumbles, tackles for loss. Didn't get as many interceptions compared to his contemporaries, but the second most for a player that wasn't a secondary player. So he just all around and probably the most underrated player, not just in Bucks history, but probably in the history of the NFL. The stuff that man should have been given in his career, and he's only made one Pro Bowl, one first team All Pro, should have had 3 or 4 in each, I think. easily.
Yeah, very well said. I don't think there's anything more that's going on behind the scenes. I think it's just the fact
Yeah.
that a lot of wear and tear on his body. 14 years playing a linebacker position where you're always getting hit constantly each and every play, either by offensive linemen, a running back, or even by a small time receiver that could come and clip you from the sides. Like it's a lot. It's a lot that goes on with your body and your mind. Obviously, on top of the fact that you're traveling a lot. A lot of the time is being spent away from the family. A 3-year-old daughter,
Yep.
that 14-year career. A lot of things changed in the last 3 years in his mind, in his family's mind, the relationships around him, the friendships around him. Sure, so he would have to put that priority forward. And after 14 seasons, man, like, dude, it's already like, yeah, like you're saying, he was getting 1-year deals for the last what, like 5 years? It was.
Like two, it's like 2, 3 years, yeah,
Yes.
easily.
So he was already in the mindset of like, I'm thinking of retiring this season. Let me go have this one-on-one convo with the GM, with the owner, with the head coach, with my coaches, and see what's up. All right, cool, whatever. I'll come back for another year. Let me talk to my family about it and see how they feel.
Yeah.
That's the type of path that he was on for the last 3 years. So now he was just like, look, Tampa, sorry, BC, but
No,
Tampa's a
you're good.
mediocre team. Doesn't look like we're really going places.
Yep.
Like I can't be just hanging by a thread. Now you guys are getting Todd Bowles back, where a lot of people seem to disagree with that they don't think that's the right move that the Bucks should do. Maybe he's on that tip too. He's like, yo, this guy hasn't really done anything for us. Yeah, we won back in 2020, but it wasn't really with him.
Yeah.
So if this guy can't get us to the promised land right now, and I'm already at this age and I'm trying to be with my family, my body's already telling me to quit, like, why not just call it quits right now?
Yeah. And that was interesting though too. Like Todd Bowles, a lot of people. Well, when Lavonte had an interview about whether or not he plans on coming back, he cited Todd Bowles like his importance coming back because had he said, paraphrasing it, had he not been brought back as the head coach, he would have already retired. Which I mean, I kind of understand it, but then at the same time, it's like he's still retired anyway. It's just like 2, 3 months later.
Yeah,
But that's neither here nor there. Like I really, I don't want to focus on gripes and stuff like that with Todd Bowles. I'd rather focus on the legacy that Levante is leaving behind, and
yeah,
he is the this is no small feat either to say, but the second greatest linebacker in Bucks history behind Derek Brooks, who's a Hall of Famer. Like they're basically, if we could have had two of those guys playing together for their entire careers on the same team,
wow.
best linebacker tandem in the NFL. Both did basically the exact same thing, could rush the passer, could tackle anybody, could play in coverage, pick off passes. They were just absolute studs of their generations. And again, it is a shame that Levante does not have more than one Pro Bowl and one first team All Pro. And he's honestly up there with guys, Bobby Wagner, Luke Kuechly. I would say he goes up there with guys like Patrick Willis, Fred Warner. Like he was that great. And because he spent the first part of his career as an outside linebacker in a 4-3 scheme, a lot of those Pro Bowls and All Pro selections got oversought by 3-4 outside linebackers who, let's be honest, they were basically glorified defensive ends. So deserved a lot more, but I'm sure he'll still take the Pro Bowl nod. He'll take the All Pro. He'll take the Super Bowl ring because a lot of those guys like Luke Kuechly, Patrick Willis, Fred Warner, they don't have those.
Yeah,
Like they don't have rings like that. So he will definitely. I would love if this upcoming season they put him in the Ring of Honor, maybe alongside Gene Deckerhoff, the play-by-play radio guy, but he definitely will get a spot in the Ring of Honor. Hall of Fame is a little bit trickier just because he's got the stats. He definitely has the stats of a Hall of Famer, just not the accolades, which is a shame.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to Lavonte David, man.
Yeah,
Great
man.
career. 14 years is a long time to play. Super
Yep.
Bowl champ,
Yep.
Pro Bowler too. He can say that he put it on his resume, man, and
Yep.
he ran a defense to where they could stop a lot of teams from scoring the football.
Yep.
So shout out to him, man.
Yep. Now he's gonna enjoy fatherhood, man. Happy for him.
Yep, yep, facts.